Welcome back to our last class with Venerable Gyelse. And I'm happy that we are going through these very deep teachings. I don't know for you, but for me, it helps a lot. If these teachings are giving you something, if you found some realizations, for some ideas, if you used it already, please type 1 in the chat. Could you please do it just to let us know the feedback? If you have something, what you used already, what you are using in your life, what you took on this course, of this course. Yay, thank you, wonderful. Yay, Ludmila, Ananda. Yay, thank you. Lavinia, wonderful. That's great. Tatiana, Alva, thank you. That's amazing. I use it. I also use it. It's just tremendous for me. Thank you so much, Venerable Gyelse, for teaching. Thank you for this course. And dear participants, to let you know that if you feel a little bit grateful to the teacher, you can send something using the link on the red envelope in the banner, which you can see after the class and before class, and you can find in the chat the link. You can send your gratitude in some cheap way in money. So we don't have something more to offer for this teaching except, of course, mandala. Thank you, Venerable Gyelse, and please, dear participants, please turn on your cameras. Thank you so much, Venerable Gyelse. Welcome.
Hello. Hello, hello. So I don't know if this has gone as quickly for you as it has for me, but these classes have gone by very fast. I guess maybe because there's just 5 of them. I need to close my window because it's too bright. Excuse me one moment. Yeah, I think that's better. So, yeah, I hope that it has so far. Today will be our ultimate day where we'll be really going into flavor number 6 much deeper than we have. We've just touched on it in our last class. And I hope, learning about the different ways that we misunderstand things will be helpful in your life. As Venerable Kadran said, as other people said in the chat, and for me as well, these teachings go very deep and have been extremely helpful in my life. And I know that Geshe Michael has taught it in many different venues. He's used it in Diamond Cutter Institute, right? DCI and Sedona College of International Management, passing on these very ancient ideas to people of all different walks of life because they're so usable. Before we start with our prayers, I wanted to share something with you. I was driving to work yesterday and listening to the radio as I quite often do. And they're talking about mental health on the radio. And they're saying, oh, scientists, now they've shown and they've really proved that kindness helps your mental health, being kind to other people. And I just had to laugh because this is what the Buddha taught 2,500 years ago. This is what Jesus taught 2,000 years ago. This is what all the major philosophers in the world have taught for thousands of years, and all of a sudden science is now proving that it's true. So I just thought it was kind of funny that finally science is catching up with how being kind to others helps us and helps them and helps the world all at the same time. And they said much more than just self-care, doing nice things for yourself. They said much more than that. And so I just wanted to share that with you. And before we got on with this class, because compassion and love and kindness are so important to creating this new and healthy, thriving, beautiful world that we are creating through our practice. So with that, let's offer a mandala. Here is the great earth, filled with the smell of incense, covered with a blanket of flowers, the great mountain, the four continents, wearing a jewel of the sun and moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Nirya Tayami. Now think about what truly helps you to protect you, to protect our minds where everything comes from. It is our wisdom and our compassion, right? I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of the goodness that we do in giving and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of the goodness that I do in teaching and the rest, may I reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of the goodness that I do in listening and the rest, may I reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. Thank you. So guess what? We're going to start with a meditation. And it's going to be maybe a little longer than our meditations that we've done. So if you're not on your cell phone, please turn your cell phone off so it doesn't disturb you during class, especially during meditation. Make yourselves comfortable. I'm going to have a drink of water before we begin. And I also like to, again, invite the interpreters to close your eyes because you don't have anything that you need to look at. There's no translations or words. So you can listen and follow the meditation as well as interpreting it. So place your feet firmly on the ground. Feel your connection to the earth, how she supports you. Feel that energy moving up your body, straightening your spine, tucking your tummy in. Lifting your shoulders up to your ears and placing them onto your back, opening up your chest, letting your heart shine into the world. Relax your jaw, your forehead and your eyes. Put a little smile on your face, loosening up those two side channels that choke our central channel. And then bring your attention to your breath as the warm air goes out and the cool air comes in. Let's count up to 30 breaths, starting with the out breath. And if your mind wanders away, just bring it back and try to remember where you were when your mind wandered away. So now that you've focused on your breath, let's turn our focus to a special person in our life. They can be somebody who is alive now or an historical person, even an imaginary person, and invite them to come and sit with you, sit in front of you, knee to knee, to be here with you in this class today. They always love to come and visit you, and you like to be around them as well. So think of one quality they have that makes you want to be with them, that you'd like to have rub off on you. And this is a mental prostration to them, a mental bowing down to this quality that they have. Then make them some very sweet offering in gratitude and thanks for them being in your life and sharing their good qualities with you. Now that tell them something that you're very proud of in a healthy way that you did in the last 24 hours or that you said, and share that with them and see how much joy it brings them as well. And you're both sitting there just being super happy together. And then, as honest as you were with the goodness, let's also share something that we're not so happy about, that we're a bit disappointed in ourselves, that we said or did or didn't do, and clean our hearts. So play it back like a movie and share that movie with your friend. And they are no less happy with you. In fact, they're really happy that you can be so open and so honest about your struggles. Now think about some of the people in your life who help you to be a good person, a kind person. And how much we need them in our lives, how much of a support they are for us. Ask them to stay and rejoice in their goodness as well. And now ask to be sent a sign in the next 24 hours of some special teaching just for you. Could be when you're home with your family, could be at work, could be just walking on the street. Just ask to have a sign sent to you and also to be able to be aware of it. Special Dharma teaching just for you. Now that we've cleaned our hearts and collected goodness, let's turn to our mind. And among all of the different functions of the mind, let's take feeling. Mind is always in one of three modes, right? Feeling good, feeling neutral, or feeling bad. All the way up to Buddhahood. Mind never stops feeling. It's feeling all of the time. When it's feeling neutral, we may not be aware of it, but it's feeling. So try to get a sense of where your mind is right now. Look at how your mind is feeling. Is it happy? Is it mildly happy? Mildly sad? Try to get in touch with that object right now. it can be a little difficult to watch your mind. So try to get used to it. Once you have a sense of how your mind is feeling at the moment, try to get in touch and be sensitive to your natural feeling that there's some kind of lasting nature to the feeling you're having right now. This feeling's going to stay for a while, and it might not change in a moment. Try to be aware of that flavor of misunderstanding that you have about your own feelings. The feeling that they're going to last for a while. So like if it's good now, it's going to last for more than a few minutes. Now strip that away and look at the feeling that you're having right now. It is something fleeting. It won't stay very long. And you'll almost be totally unaware when it changes. Someone will say something, you'll see something, you'll think something, and suddenly you'll be on another track. See how short-lived your feelings are. Not now, but when you're doing this meditation some other time, you can play with thinking of other things and watch how your feelings change. So that was emptiness flavor 1. Now we're going to go on to emptiness flavor 2. So go back to observing the feeling you have right now. Maybe you're in a good mood because you had your coffee this morning, or you are finally home from work. Check and see. Misunderstanding number 2 is the ownership kind of mind. You think you own your feelings or that you can control them. You're the master of your feelings. You direct where they go. You boss them around. So look at your feelings in that light with those colored glasses on. get in touch with that emotion you have, that you could make your feeling go either way if that's what you wanted. You could feel better if you wanted to. You could feel worse if you wanted to. That false sense that you're in charge of your emotions. Now strip away that gotcha, that non-existent, self-existing thing, and see your feelings for what they are. You don't own them. You don't control them. You get angry uncontrollably. And when you feel good, we would say it's often just good luck. See that that's the real way your emotions, your feelings go throughout the day. Now go back to just watching the feeling. We're going to get a little more subtle now. Try to get in touch with your sense that the feelings are happening to you. In most languages, the words for feelings are reflexive. They have endings on them that mean that this sadness is happening to me. This happiness is happening to me. Like some kind of accident. So look at your feelings with that flavor of misunderstanding that says, I'm separate from that feeling, and that feeling is happening to me. It's sort of an accident. It's not something that I caused or something that I brought about. I and the feeling are meeting each other randomly. feelings come up, and I'm the victim of my feelings. Look at your feelings that way. Now strip away that false sense and see the reality, which is that you've been brought to this mind and that feeling has been brought to this mind. You've been brought here to feel it, and it's been brought here to be felt by one seed from what you did in the past. Karma never misses a beat. Karma is airtight. You never have a feeling appear in your head without you being there in your head to feel it. But that you did something to someone or you thought something is the cause. It's a perfect ecology. Everything is happening exactly as it should. That feeling was created by something you said or did or thought about someone else. And then you're there to feel it. And you've created both. You've brought both of them to this head to have this meaning. See it that way. There are no accidents. You always get exactly what you deserve. And you're always having the feeling that you deserve. Let's go back to the feeling again. What is your mind feeling right now? Maybe your mind is feeling like, oh, I wish this meditation would be over. I'm a little anxious. Get in touch with it. and get in touch with your judgment about your feeling. This is a good feeling. This is a bad feeling. It's a good thing I'm having this feeling. It's a bad thing I'm having this feeling. Now strip away the gotcha, meaning the sense that judgment is automatic or necessarily the case. Look at the feeling again and try to see it in a different light. See that your judgments about your feeling are constructs. They're not inherently correct or incorrect. It's a construct. Is it necessarily a good feeling or bad feeling? Maybe it's just a feeling. So this time, try to see it in a different light. Like maybe this feeling could be a very useful thing. What can I use this feeling for? I won't automatically judge it one way or another because it's not necessarily one way or another. And I could use this feeling for something else. And now we're up to Madhyamika, the middle way school. Go back to the feeling, just the feeling, and see if it's changed in the last few minutes. Is it a different feeling than you had when you started this meditation? Now try to get the sense that, as the lower middle way school would say, how misunderstanding feels about that feeling. Misunderstanding looks at that feeling and says, that feeling is out there from its own side. It's occurring from its own side. I can't change that feeling. It's occurring from its own side, and none of it's due to my participation. that feeling is independently existing from its own side. Whether or not I feel it doesn't depend on my efforts or my state of mind. It exists from its own side. Does your feeling feel like it exists from its own side? So in the lower way, middle way school, the independent group, this is misunderstanding about the feeling, that it has some existence from its own side exclusively. So try to get that sense. Pretend to have that kind of misunderstanding that looks at feelings and says, this thing is coming from its own side, and it must feel that way. Now strip away that gotcha, that self-existent idea. And let's go to what they consider wisdom. They consider wisdom to be half of that feeling is coming from its side, and half of it depends on how I look at it. This is the Lojong state of mind. This is, I can transform problems. So now purposely look at your state of mind and take it up a rung on that ladder, take it up a notch. Like if you're having a neutral feeling or a slightly good feeling, try to move it up to a solid good feeling. Like think of something that takes it up a little higher, like your favorite cookie or a beautiful flower or song. See how your feeling changes. Now move it up another notch and think of the one person you love the most in this world. Try to picture them very clearly. Try to picture that emotion for them. Feel it consciously, purposely, moving it up another notch. Then consciously move it up yet another notch. Try to remember the most pleasurable minute or 2 minutes you ever had in your life. Consciously examine your life and try to find the 1 or 2 minutes of the greatest pleasure you ever had, and bring your mind up to that. Then go back to your normal, and we're ready to go to number 6. I kind of think of it like clip-on sunglasses. So we're going to clip on misunderstanding number 6. You're still looking at the same object, the mind, the feelings of the mind. So the glasses are still there. But now you have a different filter on. And that's going to be misunderstanding flavor 6. It's almost the same as number 5. Both Madhyamika schools are basically denying the same thing, that a thing could come from its own side. So again, try to imagine that your feelings are coming from their own side, that they don't depend on anything else, that you couldn't change them. That your feelings are a product of external causes. Like whether you're having a good feeling right now depends on that you had a good day at work today, or that somebody said something nice to you. Or whether you have a good Zoom connection or not. That's the kind of misunderstanding I'm talking about. Try to focus on that. Why? Because it's really what we believe. That our feelings are being produced and affected by the circumstances or conditions around us at the present moment. That's why you're having this feeling. Like you're having this feeling because your body's in pretty good shape today. Your back's not hurting too much. you had a good breakfast, everyone was pretty nice to you. That is misunderstanding. Focus on that. Okay, now here's the real truth. Strip away that gotcha. Strip away that false perception that that's why you're having the feeling you're having. Go to the truth, the highest truth, the ultimate truth, the one you use for all your practice of Buddhism, especially Diamond Way. Look at your feelings as a projection. Remember the pen. Focus on your feelings as if they were the pen, neutral, blank. Whether or not you're having a good day today has nothing to do with the people around you. It has nothing to do with what you had for breakfast. It has nothing to do with if your back hurts. It's only a projection, a perception that's being forced on you by what you did in the past, independent of what's going on around you. You're going to feel good or bad depending on what you did in the past, whether you kept your vows in the past, whether you kept your ethical life. There's no other cause for the way you're feeling right now, except the good or bad that you did to others in the past. To come back to your room, see the friend in front of you. And it's very inauspicious to leave that friend hanging or just sitting there in front of you. So bring them up into the air. They get smaller and smaller and rotate until they're facing the same way as you. They come down onto your head, slipping into your central channel, bringing them down to the level of your heart, just in front of your backbone. Inside your heart chakra is a big, spacious meditation room. Beautiful light, beautiful scent, and a beautiful rose or lotus for them to sit on. And on top of that, is a beautiful, brilliant moon disk upon which they sit. And they are extremely happy with you that you're finally getting it right. So thinking about emptiness, meditating on the mind, and in this case, the feelings, is probably the highest virtue you can collect. So dedicate it. See light going out of your friend's heart, your loved one's heart, like golden light. And then it comes out from your chest, spreading this understanding out into the world. Now come back to your breath. 3 long exhales. You meditated for a long time. Get a nice stretch. And then we are going to take a break for 5 minutes. Or let's say 8 minutes. See you at 10 minutes after the hour. Get something to drink, stretch. See you back here in 8 minutes. You guys did well. That's a long meditation. We've had quite a few meditations. Would you like me to provide the written form of the meditation to you? Let me know in the chat if you would like that. Because you can always hear it on the video, but if you'd like the written form, I will provide that and it can get translated. You can have a little group of MAHAMUDRA meditations. Okay, I will do that. Okay, take a break. Okay, everybody, let's start coming back. Be great if you turned your cameras on too. Very few of you have your cameras on. You have some cool pictures, but be nice to see you. Thank you. Okay. So one of the four selling points of MAHAMUDRA meditation, as opposed to like a general emptiness meditation, is that you wouldn't have so much distraction or dullness. I'm curious to know if that is true for you. For me, it seems to work. Of course, listening to me leading you, maybe you got a little sleepy. Sometimes my voice got a little quiet, so I apologize for that. But did anybody like cough during the time they were watching their feelings? Were you getting bored with watching your own feelings? Try it, you know. I'd love some feedback in the chat if you're willing to give it. So we're going to talk about flavor number 6 a little bit more, which is not bored. So many. I will go through again via YouTube. Thank you, Rick. Cool. Good to review it. Yeah. Yeah. And then, as I said, I'll make it available to you in written form too. Valerie says it's a super meditation. Well, I'm glad that it feels that way for you. And Trong, okay. So how do we put flavor 6 into practice? You know, we know that we can't just manipulate it. We know that that doesn't work. Why do we know that? Because it doesn't work all the time. If something really caused something else, then it would always cause it. Right? In science, we call it replication, right? It keeps producing the same thing over and over. The manipulated way, the way we usually try to change things, would never, ever hold up with science. You can't replicate it. Whereas giving, for example, always produces a nice result. It's impossible for anything else to happen. Conversely, any time you get a penny, a single little smallest amount of money, it must have come from being generous to somebody else. There doesn't exist money in the world that didn't come from giving. So really, this implies that the theory of sharing wealth is a fallacy. It's not true. Because wealth comes from generosity. So I don't know, in America at the moment, we have a few extremely rich people. And they seem to be manipulating things so they can get richer and richer. And it appears like the rest of us are getting poorer and poorer, right? Is that how it works? That there's a limited amount of money and they get richer and richer, causing us to get poorer and poorer? No. But don't we think that way? Don't we get like, I mean, I do for sure. It's like, oh my God, Elon Musk is now a half a billionaire, I think I saw last night. It's like, and there's people who are starving. They should share their money. If they shared their money, where would that be coming from? Because we shared our money. If they don't share their money in this lifetime, what's going to happen in the future? They're riding a wave from the past, right? All of us could be comfortable in the world simultaneously if we were all generous. And it does being generous with your time, being generous with your words, being generous with your things. Be generous without criticizing, right? If every one of us could be generous in our world, how amazing would that be, right? Generous with ourselves, right? How often do we criticize ourselves? Probably like every 10 minutes, right? We have such high expectations of ourselves and others. So wealth on every level, not just financial wealth, comes from being generous. That's flavor number 6. It all comes from the seeds that I am planting. So prove it to me, like the jury in a courtroom, right? How can I do that? We say that there are things that are Nungyur, Kokyur, and Shinto Kokyur. There are things which are obvious. There are things which are hidden, Kokyur. And then there are things that are Shinto Kokyur, really hidden, right? As you get deeper and deeper into your meditations and examine where things are coming from, you can eventually see emptiness directly. I think all of us want to do that, right? But before that, we have to go to these dumb classes with this dumb person and hear it over and over and over again. And our job is to prove it to you 1,000 ways. our job as teachers. And that's the only way we can see emptiness at the beginning level. We learn logic. We use the eye of logic. And there's something even more difficult than seeing emptiness directly. And that's the subtle workings of karma. So how are you supposed to live by it if no one can prove it to you? Just believe it because they said it? No. So you guys are like the jury, and I have to prove it to you, right? There is a process. First of all, logic. You hear it explained enough over and over and over again, right? You take the course on karma. You understand how karma is planted. That's a level A way to prove it. You can teach somebody about seeds. Then on a higher level, and we call them an authoritative person, right? You find a person that you believe. And that can be dangerous, just to believe what a person says. And it, frankly, is discouraged in Buddhism. So let's establish that. In scripture, it's very beautiful. It says, only the Buddha describes suffering accurately. So I can probably believe him about how seeds work. Try living your life through this idea of seeds for a while. Check it out. Don't just believe what I said or the Buddha said. Check it out for yourself. See if you don't start having like amazing experiences. You don't have anything to lose, do you? I mean, we're all going to die anyway. You're going to lose everything, right? You've experienced that. You know that. And you can confirm that. Have you seen anybody who hasn't died yet in front of you? No. Kristen says, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. It's true. But generally speaking, it appears that everybody before us has left this body, right? Let's put it that way, has left this body behind. We need a radical change in our worldview. And then the final proof is that you get results. That is the proof. That means you have some responsibility to work on it. Not just sit in a class, not just listen. Contemplate. Think about it. Study. Do some study. Think about it. Meditate on it. And there's a fourth one, which is put it into practice. Right? Put it into practice. And as there's an idiom in English which says, the proof is in the pudding, means you will, if you get results, you can be assured that it works. And then you say, wow, this stuff works. And then you know that you're on the right track. There is an incredible tool you can use to help you with this. And it's called the 6 Times book. Take 6 months of being strict with your book. Stop 6 times a day, every 2 to 3 hours, and check the next vow that you have. Do it for 6 months sincerely. Search your heart. Don't just try to find something you can write, in 2 minutes time because you've got to get to the dentist or something like that, right? Pause. Take 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Really check in with where you are. And see if some amazing things don't happen to you, right? Like literally people PayPaling you money out of nowhere, or bumping into Tara on the main street or something. That's the kind of level I'm talking about. And isn't that what we always wanted? From whatever religion or philosophy. So where does this theory lead to in your real life? So let's talk about an act of truth. Gandhiji was very good at it. In San view number 6, you're going to have to be doing acts of truth rather frequently. So what's an act of truth? An act of truth is this. So Gandhiji wants to liberate India from the British. And he's trying to figure out the best way to do it. His friends are saying, let's plant bombs under their trains. Let's shoot the British officers from the tops of buildings. Let's see if we can do it that way. Gandhiji says, no. He says the way to overcome violence is nonviolence. There's other guys, and they're like talking number 5 worldview, right? Problem is out there. So we need to attack out there. Like, shoot enough British officers so they go away. And you can think about this in your own life, in what's going on in your own life. And I just got a message that might plant the seeds for it to continue to be connected. So Gandhiji, though, he's talking Okay, I'm back. I guess we didn't have those seeds, did we? Let me share my screen again. Maybe yeah, we'll share the screen. And share. But we're going to go back one. There we go. It's all good? Yes? Nod your head so I can see you. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Okay, where were we? So, like Gandhi is saying, you want to get rid of violent people in your life, meaning, of course, the British overseas, then just practice non-violence purely. That is an act of truth. So in worldview number 6, he's saying, if I'm actively, or we can say, if we are actively, consciously, purposely, purely non-violent long enough, violence will go out of existence. If I'm purely and consciously, informedly practicing wisdom, which means with informed, logical, meditated wisdom. If I'm patient with this guy at work long enough, if I'm patient with the head of my government long enough, I can get rid of them. That's worldview 6. And in India, these guys, they take this march to the ocean, up to the place where they gather ocean water to make salt. And Gandhiji has organized this march, and he's sending guys up there in threes to stand there so the British soldiers and their workers can just beat them and break their heads, and then they fall down. And then the next guys come up, and they're strictly, purely nonviolent. This is the way to liberate India, according to worldview number 6. And it's very, very interesting. It's an act of truth. It's the truth of what he's doing. It's the truth of understanding emptiness perfectly that allows him to do the right thing. That's the only way to liberate India. Like you walk up and they let them hit you. In apparent reality, in the reality we generally live in, is that a good idea? No, it's pretty dumb. And I'm sure there were followers who were like, you sure you want to do that? If we buy into worldview number 5, then standing there and letting them hit you is really stupid. If you buy into worldview number 6, that's the only thing you can do. So we talk about acts of truth, meaning that in the short run in your life, it's very, very trying, and it's very hard to live this way. It seems like just a little white lie will make everything all right. To refuse to lie in that moment, to hold what we say, the tsimsam, the edge, to hold the line and say, a lie cannot produce a good result, even in this circumstance, when it seems like a lie would be more useful or beneficial. I refuse to lie because I have the perfection of wisdom. I know it will not cause what it appears to cause. And because of our habits, it is so hard to live that way. We think we need to protect ourselves, right? Then we have to question who am I protecting? Who is there? Where is me? But that's a whole nother story. So we constantly tell, little lies. So what we need to do is to tell the truth all the time to ourselves and others, to your boss, to your spouse, to your friends. Now, that doesn't mean hurting them when you tell the truth, right? Skillful means. What you'll find is that the other behavior was causing your suffering, causing your samsara. And this new behavior, by the way, you have to do it with knowledge, with the perfection of wisdom. And not because you grew up in Thailand and your mom said, John, it's bad to kill bugs. It's because you understand emptiness. And you won't have to wait very long to get results. So use these classes, review them over and over again, listen to them. They are a gem. Something to add to your toolbox that helps us to navigate our world and to get to deeper and deeper, wiser and wiser understandings, and using them out in the world to change our world. So we've done this incredible good here in these 5 classes, 5 packed classes. Take a moment and rejoice in your goodness. And then let's send that out into the world, which really needs it right now. Right? Let's offer a perfect world because we understand how things work. And we know we're planting the seeds here right now. Right? Sashi Puki Chukshing Metok Drum Rirab Lingshi Nyende Genpadi Sange Shingdu Mikte Uwargi Drokun Namdak Shingla Chuparsho Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami. Gewadi Kewo Kun Sunam Yashe Sok Sok Shing Sunam Yashe Lejungwe Dampar Kuni Topar Sho. So that is the end of our Mahamudra course. I am happy to stay here until the top of the hour. If you have questions, I saw there were some questions, and then when I lost the internet, I lost your questions. Oh, maybe I didn't. No, I didn't. Yay. Let me see. Rinchen Sotram says the most difficult thing for her is to remember the emptiness of feelings. Yeah, I get it. I think we all feel that way, right? I was very fortunate when I was in my early 20s. I met a very wise man, and he said to me, it was like a little koan, like a Zen koan. He said, "You are not your feelings." And I was like 25 or something, and I was full of feelings, right? And I was like, what do you mean I'm not my feelings? Took me really many, many years to understand that. But he planted that seed when I was in my 20s to question, what does that mean that I'm not my feelings? Because at least for me, up until that time, I felt like I was walking and living my feelings of love, my feelings of angst, my feelings of joy, my feelings of sadness, It just felt like who I was my feelings. And I didn't ask him to explain it to me. It was like, okay, this is something for me to figure out. And it took me many years. So these are things that we need to remind ourselves of over and over, and to put them underneath the examination scope of our meditation, right? See what else. Anybody else have experiences like that? What is the gotcha in the sixth flavor? Therefore is asking that. Is there somebody here who could tell him that? Please raise your hand if you'd like to try. What is the sixth flavor? What's the gotcha there? Lewis says it's the same as the fifth. Yeah, that something is self-existently there, not coming from here. The gotcha is the same one. The absence of anything that doesn't come from my seeds. Perfect. Yeah. Cool. You guys can begin to teach this. Well, maybe with a little more work. Going over it for a while. Any other questions? Somebody had, I think I explained it earlier, but somebody asked what Nungyur, Kokyur, and Shinto Kokyur were. Nungyur are obvious things, see things that we can just see, that they're obvious to us. Kokyur is hidden things that like, what's a good example? Like what, something from this world, like what's on the other side of Neptune or something. Or Kristen says the pen that rolled under the sofa. Or if I had a pen, which it's over there on the counter, and I were to drop it and you heard it, right? You would make a connection that the pen was no longer in my hand. And we imply that on it. We don't know it, right? So it's not obvious. It's a bit hidden. And then Shinto Kogyo, really hidden. The classical example of that is karma and how it works. It's very hidden. So emptiness is not so hidden. Right? Well, I hope to see some of you at least in Phoenix this month. And more of you than less of you would be really sweet. I know it's not easy to get to the US and get a visa sometimes and is expensive. It'd be lovely to see you. And I'm not sure what my next class will be. Let's see. Is it possible to feel love and not love for the same person? And how can I learn to experience only love with the help of today's lesson? And is the very concept of learning to love even correct? Good question. Why would we feel love and not love for a person? Where is that love coming from? It's coming from our seeds, right? It's coming from our seeds. So one seed is ripening for love, another seed is ripening for not love. It's like, I love this person one moment, and the next moment is like, they're driving me nuts, right? We all know it, I think. You know, we all know that. And those are just seeds ripening. So the deeper question then is, how can I plant seeds just for love to ripen? If you understand that love is coming from seeds, the more love seeds you plant, the more love seeds will ripen. So when that thought comes of, I can't stand this person, they're driving me nuts, cut it off. Oh, that's just a seed ripening. I don't need to follow that thought. That's because I did that in the past, and I have to stop that habit. They are coming from me. It's the two husbands in the kitchen. They are coming from me. If you can't feel love to that person, think about the love you have for somebody else and dedicate it to loving that person. Do something for somebody else. Some kindness, some loving action. Dedicate it to being able to love that person that you're having difficulty with fully and totally. If you really do it well and you really pay attention, you put it in your 6 times book, you rejoice in it, you do something opposite than not loving them, right? You love them, it will begin to ripen. Another good question from Ona. How does this meditation on the 6 flavors of emptiness prevent me from not being born in the lower realms? If we understand where things are coming from, in fact, come to my class tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, my Blue Sky Friends class at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to talk about exactly that. And you can find maybe somebody, I don't know if they have like Gina, if she's here, somebody can put the URL in the chat or on the screen. There, you've got the QR code, and if you can read the URL down there, or you can find it on our website. We're going to talk about exactly that, but for now, for everybody who's here, once we understand that we are creating our world, and we begin to act from that understanding, then, first of all, who created the lower realms? Me, my seeds. If you understand that, and you begin to clean up your karmic pot, not just your pockets, but your pot of negative seeds, then your mind becomes so pure that it can't produce a lower realm anymore for you to go to, even if you wanted to. Okay, let's see what Shijun says. So she's been thinking about planting seeds, and if we see the seeds opening, we can say we succeeded. But if we fail, it can be said that the seeds are not opened. Not necessarily. The seed, even a negative seed, will open, right? Your seeds eventually all have to open unless you short stop them, unless you stop them through purification practices, where if, say, you had a seed that was going to make you deathly ill, instead you were able to purify that seed and you only got a headache, then that's how it opens. So seeds will always open unless you purify them. And then usually they're less, right? Instead of getting hit by a car, you'll stub your toe, right? How do I know if I've planted seeds and ensure they can be opened? You know that you plant seeds when you consciously, well, you're planting seeds all the time. If you want your good seeds to open, you consciously plant them. You think about, there's so much here. You think about the three spheres. You think about the emptiness of your action, yourself, and the other person. And you plant those really deeply. I could be seeing this person as a holy being that I'm offering this chewing gum to, right? I could see that chewing gum as being bliss, and I could see myself as a holy being. This is a much deeper topic. And to ensure that they open, we contemplate them, sorry. We do coffee meditation, right? We rejoice in them, we water them, we think about them, and we're proud of them. Not in a me, I'm so incredible, but hey, that was cool. That was cool what I did, right? How can I clean bad seeds? That's a whole nother subject that we don't have time here for. So maybe we can do a class on that sometime. There's quite a few different practices, but basically reminding yourself that, first of all, admitting that you planted a negative seed, taking shelter in your understanding of wisdom of emptiness, understanding the emptiness of that, right? It's called the four powers. Deciding, knowing, what's going to happen if you don't do anything about that seed, deciding to do something about that seed, stopping the habit, and doing some type of counter practice to kind of balance out that negative seed. So it's not like really way up here, and doing something to balance it out. And there's many different things you can do. Of course, the most powerful is what we've done here, which is talking about, meditating, thinking about emptiness, right? And that's why it's so powerful to dedicate that. So even though we dedicated it to creating this beautiful world for every being, if there's something really special you want to dedicate it to, do that. Because this emptiness meditation and all the ones we've done up until today are incredibly powerful. And so every time you think about it, you can dedicate it to destroying another negative seed. And then just don't keep repeating it. Right? All righty, my dears. Thank you so much. Thank you to those who turned on their cameras. I'm looking at, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. Looking at 42 people on this screen right now, and only about 25 of them have their camera on, and there's a whole bunch more people. So I want to thank you all who have your cameras on. I really appreciate it. I want to thank our interpreters. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to thank our staff and our support at ACI, all of the worldview people. I want to thank Venerable Kadran, and you guys should thank her too for asking for this course. It was her who asked for it many months ago. So she was the thorn in my side to do this. And thank you all for showing up and believing in these things and practicing them. And hope to see you soon. Thanks.
Gracias, Venerable Gyelse.
Thank you, teacher.
Спасибо, дорогой учитель.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
благодарю.
Thank you so much.
For a long,
Love
long
you.
time.
Thank you so much. Please stay.
Thank you,
Дякую.
teacher.
Спасибо.
Gracias a todos.
Thank you so much, dear teacher. Please stay.